What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel and podcast. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're on the podcast platforms. And if you are on YouTube, please do the same, as well as hitting that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. Let's get into this conversation. Real Housewives of Potomac. I don't know how deep they can go in the dirt when it comes to this show, and it honestly is like Love and Hip Hop Potomac. It really is to the point where I don't know if they are going to have a cast shakeup if they want to keep this franchise going, or if they're just going to maybe do like a Real Housewives of DC. Remember that was like, 2 seasons and it never came back? The Real Housewives of Potomac at this point, it's a shame. And I say that even more so now because I spoke about this recently when the episode aired, when Mia threw the drink in Wendy's face. At first, I was horrified, and then I was nervous for Wendy's position. Not on the show. I question her being on the show anymore and why she would have even wanted to be on the show in the first place. Because out of all of those who are on the show, Wendy has the most professional status to lose. And she made that clear on the first season that she was even on the show. She told Ashley, call me Dr. Wendy. She said, people like you call me doctor. Call me Dr. Wendy. And it was, it was definitely to a lot of people a bit off, putting, and it made it seem like she was either putting on airs or making it seem like she was better than everyone that was on the show. I didn't take it in that way. I really felt like, and felt even more so like on the second season, that Wendy was trying to find herself in some way. Because on the first season, when she was having a conversation with her mom, I'll never forget it, she was just saying how she just doesn't really feel happy being a professor anymore. And her mom was like, well, you need to keep doing that. And not, quote unquote, I'm not saying what she said verbatim, but technically that's what her mom said. And Wendy made that clear. She said, I'm from Nigeria. And being from Nigeria, our parents, you're either going to be a doctor or a lawyer, or you're going to be, into your education, and you're going to get a high status in your career from your education. And that is to be acknowledged. That is to be celebrated. The fact that they are putting their all into their children and they want them to become something, so to speak. But I can't imagine what that feels like to have a parent that is so overbearing, even as an adult, that I am operating in a career that I don't really want to do for the sake of what my mom thinks about it and making my mom happy. I couldn't imagine what that feels like. So I had sympathies for her in that manner. So in the second season, when I saw her and she had some little things done to her body to make herself feel better about herself after having 3 children, I was all for it. I didn't have anything against that. But I did feel that she was trying to really be in that Green Eye Bandit crew, and she didn't fit. Because you had Gizelle, who is a divorcee, who we know was married to a philandering pastor. She tried to use him again for a storyline to act like they were dating each other again, when we found out that that was really not the truth. It was definitely a storyline. We didn't even believe it before the binder came out that Monique brought out on that season's reunion. So we already knew that information, right? But she bought this monstrosity of a house that looks like one side is a barn and the other side is like a regular house, and she like pushed the two together to make it into something bigger, and it was just like a freaking eyesore, like seriously. And in terms of what she has going on with her life, we don't really see much. We see she has 3 beautiful daughters, And granted, that's a great thing. Being a mother is not like, well, that's it. You're just a mom. I'm not saying that. But we saw her create a makeup line while she was on the show, and then that didn't last, I don't know, 2 seasons? So the fact that she's sitting there and speaking negatively about Wendy, saying Wendy doesn't have any money to invest into a restaurant when she was having conversations with Peter about opening up a lounge, that was absolutely crazy. But that's what she was doing, okay? And then you've got Robyn, who has been engaged for several seasons to her children's father that she is divorced from. It, I guess, works for them, or they're just putting on for the camera for the sake of a storyline too. I don't know. But it's weird, okay? At this point, it's really, really weird because Robyn seems extremely unhappy. Juan doesn't seem like he really wants to be there. She's done several things over the seasons that she attempted. I believe at one point she talked about having a trucking company, and then she was doing real estate flipping, and then she did the hats, the embellished, I think it's called, embellished caps. And I guess she's still doing that. And she's had a lot of troubles. And then the story came out recently about Juan and how he either covered up or did not do all that he needed to do in a situation that is extremely, extremely messy. And I'm not even going to go into all the details about that right now. But these are 2 unhappy women. They are green-eyed with envy. And Wendy is, from what it appears to us, in a happy household. Her husband seems to really love her, even to the point where he allowed his family to disown him. They said, well, if you marry her because she's not from the whatever, same, either the tribe or the caste system or whatever that they operate by in Nigeria, then they were going to disown him. And he said, well, you know what? I love this woman, and the Bible says, forsaking all others, leaving your father and mother and cleaving to your wife. So that's what I'm going to do. Like, he ultimately loves his wife. They clearly have a happy marriage, okay? So when Wendy came, not only did she came for them, but when she responded to them last season, when those rumors came up about her husband, and Wendy, she did not stop. She just continued to say what she wanted to say in spite of how they felt, or if their feelings got hurt by or whatever. She just didn't care, because it was like, look, you're not going to come from my family. You're not going to come from my marriage. And I was understanding of that. But at this point, with how low things have gotten, and they're now trying to defend things, it just is like, I just don't know how far things can go and this show continue to have any sort of credibility and continue to move forward. Because Robyn says bringing up Monique Samuels after this assault made no sense. So the story is that Robyndixon has been receiving a lot of backlash from fans of the show. The recent episode, it was a controversial one, and this is from Urban Bell. It says, as we reported, Miathornton and wendyosefo had an explosive night. After Mia confronted Wendy about her business with Peter Thomas not working out, the ladies exchanged words. Wendy thought it was silly for Mia to suggest that she should have checked in with Peter once she arrived in Miami. She went on to tell Mia that she and Eddie don't do things the way Mia and Gordon do. Mia took that as a jab and threw her drink at Wendy. She also assaulted Wendy with her purse. Classy. Interestingly enough, Robyn was there to witness the events. She told Wendy that she was antagonizing Mia. Robyn also told Wendy that she should stop talking to Mia if she wasn't ready to throw down. And see, it's statements like that that I'm like, how far can this show go? Because not to just blanket compare this situation to the situation with the untimely passing of Shanquella in Mexico with her supposed friends, just making statements like that is antagonizing. So I don't know what Robyn is talking about Wendy being antagonizing. Wendy was responding to Mia because Mia was making a scene. She was having a moment, trying to have a moment, shall we say, and trying to involve herself in something that had nothing to do with her at all. And so Gizelle and Robyn, they were expressing their sympathy for Mia because they are envious of Wendy. Because let's be clear, even though at the time of the filming of these episodes, it seemed that Mia had it going on, but Mia really doesn't. And she made that clear before this season began airing, that she got locked out of the business account and some other things that happened, and how Gordon's family took over some things and they excluded her and whatnot. So she really wasn't living the way that she was trying to portray to those women that she was living. She really wasn't. And when you kind of have an inkling that people aren't really living as well as they claim to be, you're not going to really be jealous of them. But Wendy, as far as we know, she lives in a beautiful home with her husband that I assume, I don't know, that they're paying for a mortgage for. And she started her candle line and she's doing other things, and they made jokes about it. But yet, what have they done? Again, Gizelle had a failed makeup line. Robyn was trying to do different things. She was going to do trucking, and then she was going to do the house flipping, and now she's doing the hats. And then previous to all of that, we knew and found out that she lost all of her husband's money due to some fraudulent scheme with a friend of hers. So the humility factor that Robyn really should have, and even Gizelle, because they've gone through some life situations that should have been humbling for them. But in essence, being on this show and being coddled and enabled has heightened their pride in so many ways that it shouldn't be. And they really should have been humbled by their past experiences, where they shouldn't have any cause to speak negatively about Wendy, or to be honest, anyone on that show for that matter. Let's just be honest about it. But when it comes up to the colorist situations, I do believe that that has something to do with their responses to Wendy versus Mia, period. Because for them to go after Wendy to not Wendy, for them to leave Wendy behind and go after Mia to see if she's okay when she was the one that assaulted Wendy, and so uncalled for, and then to say that she was antagonizing, and Robyn to start filming on her phone, calling herself TMZ and saying, well, if you're not going to fight, then just shut up. But if, like, that is the type of stuff where I'm saying it sort of reminds me of the Shanquella Robinson situation. And that is so dangerous. To encourage an adult woman to fight. And these women are in their late 40s and early 50s, I think. This is ridiculous. It is so low vibrational. I know that Stormy Wellington made that comment about a plate of food, but this is low vibrational in all senses of the word. Low vibrational. Like, watching it was a low moment for me, because I felt like, what in the world am I watching? Is this Love and Hip Hop Potomac? Seriously, I don't watch Love and Hip Hop, but it made me feel like I was watching Love and Hip Hop, because I used to watch I remember watching the Real Housewives back in the day, and it was supposed to be about glamorous living, and they're going out to lunches and dinners and going on vacations with people they either like or don't really like, but they're in the same circles somewhat, and they supposedly have money. And then, we learned that a lot of that, when it came to many of those Real Housewives of Atlanta, was fraudulent. But at any rate, as the show continued to pay them and they started getting the money more and more, then they were able to up-level their lives. So it definitely wasn't so much that they were all living really well. But that's one of the things that I really loved about Married to Medicine, and still do, because I felt like it was more realistic than the Real Housewives were. So that's why even this last season of Married to Medicine really got on my nerves when it came to Quad, because I just felt like she should be on if she's going to be on TV, be on something else, because this ain't the place for that. Married to Medicine, yeah, they had their issues here and there, but it really was more real than you just spreading rumors and gossip and being the bone carrier, like Sheree called herself, from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So how low can RHOP go? I guess we will see as this show continues to move along, but Robyn saying that she doesn't understand the way Wendy brought up Monique. Well, you're not going to understand it because you are not going to agree with anything that Wendy says, because you're still mad that Wendy said last season that you don't even have a real relationship to care about. And that there, people, is exactly why Robyn is still mad. And she will not ever get over it. Ever. So, I don't know why Mia felt the need to make a statement to her fans, so to speak, because who she owes an apology to is to Wendy. I'm not sure if she has done that yet, and if she hasn't, if she intends on doing that. But she doesn't owe a statement to the fans on social media. And then when did this happen? Last year? Was it last year, or did this happen earlier this year? Either way, whenever it happened, that should have been the time to express regret, remorse, and an apology, not after it airs months and months later. Period. So I just don't know. It's being reported that it's possible that Mia may not be coming back to the show. I wouldn't be sad to see her go. And I just don't get it. But what she said on social media after she reactivated her Twitter account, because she took it down for a while, she said, reactivated to say, my actions towards Wendy was intolerable. It's unfortunate that you all will attack my family, friends, and my businesses based on an edited TV show. While I was committed to drama and entertainment, I must do what's best for brand and partners. Much love, Mia. So again, she's a liar, because she didn't at Wendy in her tweet, and maybe she couldn't because maybe Wendy has her blocked. I don't know. But, and I just thought about that as I was saying it. But she goes on to say, it's unfortunate that you all will attack my family, friends, and my businesses based on an edited TV show. So all of that right there, she's not taking accountability, because she's saying on an edited TV show. Girl, they did not edit you throwing a drink into Mia. They did not edit you throwing a drink into Wendy's face. And two, you're talking about people attacking your friends, your family, and your businesses. So you really did this statement because you're hoping that people will cool out and chill out based on the statement that you made. But you didn't get on here and say, you know what? I'm not here to say anything, but I truly regret my actions, and I am so sorry at Wendy, whatever her name is on Twitter or whatever, for doing what I did to you. It wasn't warranted. You did not deserve it. I don't know what came over me, but it was wrong. Like, that's what should have been said, not you saying that this is an edited TV show and that you all are attacking my family, friends, and businesses based on this edited TV show. That right there shows that she doesn't take full accountability, because after she said that, she made another tweet saying, I take, all caps, full accountability. I was wrong. No one deserves to be treated with disrespect. I'm sorry I let you all down. She didn't say, I should not have done this to Wendy. She just said no one deserves to be treated with disrespect. So in my mind, reading that statement, it sounds like to me that she's speaking about herself, and she's thinking that she was disrespected in some ways. So when she says no one deserves to be treated with disrespect, she didn't say no one deserves to have a drink thrown in their face. Wendy did not deserve what I did to her. That's what should have been said. And she didn't do that. So she is not taking full accountability. But that's the thing about it, guys. People like that usually don't. And she is like Robyn and Gizelle. So that's why Robyn and Gizelle were more drawn to her, not just because of the light skin, but that's why they were more drawn to her than they were to Wendy. They're still pissed that Wendy called them out last season on things that were 100% true. And now they're still holding on to those grudges. And hey, people can say Wendy was fake for trying to greet Gizelle at the little spring party that Karen had at the beginning of the season, the first episode. And yeah, it was kind of, I wouldn't do it. And I wouldn't expect somebody that I had, some sort of issues with to come at me in that way either. It would be extremely shocking and surprising. I get that. But to me, I didn't think that Wendy was just being fake. I just felt like she was just trying to be like, you know what? That was a while ago. I hadn't seen her since all that went down. So I'm going to go over here and greet her. And some people naturally are kind of like hug tappers when they greet people. So that's how I took it. But again, people have the right to feel however they want to feel about it. But I just don't feel that any of the actions that were taken against Wendy or the things that were said about Wendy were warranted at all. And we know that Ashley can be messy for sure. She has been messy. She is messy. She's going to continue to be messy. But even she was like, look, I like Mia, but I don't like what she did. Like, that was wrong. So if this messy chick could say that, why couldn't they do the same thing? I don't get it. But you guys let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. And until the next time, this has made me exhausted. But after it's all said and done, I am still Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest.